Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Hope that you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Thanks so much for being here. I would like to take a minute to welcome our new visitors. We have a lot of new women joining our community every day, and I just want to make sure that you know that we welcome you here and hope that you enjoy the conversations. And if you ever, by the way, have a topic that you want to talk about or you want me to discuss, just leave it in the comment section below. I promise you I read every single comment and I will always respond if it's possible. And we do have a number of very good bloggers who write for us on topics that they are expert in. So if there's something that I don't know about, then we can always ask for their help. Anyway, I want you to be engaged and feel part of this community. And go out to our website, 60andme.com/start. And then you can find out all about 60 and Me, kind of what we do, and just be informed. So my tea today. I'm drinking, where's my tea? I'm drinking this one, which is, it's a Ritual as a company. It's called Rose Wisdom. I think it's a really nice box, and it's ginger and rose tea. And it actually is very, very nice. And so I put it in my bright orange mug here. Oops. Spill it. So I have a nice drink first thing in the morning. Ginger and rose. Ginger is super good for you, and rose just has a nice sound to it, and also a nice smell and aroma. So anyway, what are you drinking? You got tea, coffee, juice, smoothie? I hope it's something good. But I hope today that you're feeling positive about the future and about the present. That's what's the most important thing. And I wanted to review with you and discuss an article that one of our bloggers wrote about looking back or living forward. I'll send you the link to the article so that you can read it and enjoy it. But it basically talks about how conflict, is part of a way of life. We face it every day. There's decisions we have to make and situations that are stressful, and there's conflict. But what if the conflict comes from the past? This is the topic that I think is really, really interesting, because a lot of times conflict from the past, however you want to define that conflict, interferes with our present. And then that, of course, affects the future. So it interferes. It's like, are you looking back or are you moving forward? That's the kind of option that this article puts forward. And unfortunately, we often let conflicts from the past define us, so that it absolutely shapes who we are in the present moment. Makes it impossible in many times to move forward. So the first thing that I think is really valuable is to look at the conflict with an open heart and an open mind. Don't let the stress, sort of make you cry and go back over and over what happened in the past. Try to look at it with a fresh perspective. I think that that's really, really important, that you don't dwell. And our author talks about how you can watch for habitual responses. I'm sorry that I can't remember her name. I didn't actually write it down as I was typing this up, and so I'll make sure that I put it at the end. But it's a really lovely article. Don't let the stress of the past define you. Another thing is to try, if you can, to look at the conflict objectively. Raise all the issues, but keep it in perspective and be respectful. If it's someone that you in your family or someone that you can try to talk to, ask that you can, listen actively and openly to what they have to say, and that they will listen to you in the same way. And I guess focus on the problem, not the person. That's really a kind of an interesting statement that is made here. And sometimes you need a third party to get involved and sort of mitigate between you. But if it's in the distant past, that person may not be with you any longer. Or if the separation is so deep that you really haven't spoken in a while, you may just have to let it go and trust your instincts that whatever decision you made was the right decision for everybody, and that it's time to move on. Another thing, though, for the current situation, if it's a conflict that's fairly recent, and that is to find a common ground. Now, we've actually talked about this before in terms of the art of having a good conversation, and that is, even if two people have completely different points of view, there's always something in the middle. There's always a point in the middle where you can find common ground. And then you can use that mutual interest and that mutual concern to then have a sensible dialogue. You can agree. We don't agree on the tactics or on the way that we're dealing with that conflict or that challenge, but we do agree on the end goal or the values of it. Start at the place where you can both agree, And then once you said, okay, I think we're there at that point that we agree on, let's now talk about our differences. You can then kind of let things go a little bit and maybe have your mind opened or not even changed about something. Another thing is to brainstorm on conclusions or so resolutions that everybody can agree on. So set at the beginning, like with this conversation, this is what our goal is. We're going to have equal conversation. We're going to talk on equal footing with mutual respect. But if we agree that we're going to brainstorm on the outcome, on the answers, let's at least start with something we're going to agree on. So let's say that we're going to talk and we're going to agree that we both want the best for something. And then if you get to that point, then there's a starting point. Then you can move on to the more difficult things. But it's really cool to have a conversation where you say, yes, and yes, I agree with you, and something, then to say, yes, I agree with you, but the and the but makes all the difference. Like, don't put up the barrier. So I agree with you, and let's then talk about the next step. So define standards for the conversation and for the future outcome. I think it's really important to use words like respect and honesty and to remind the other person or the other people that that's your foundation. That your truth is what's important to you, and that's going to be the values that are going to be brought into this conversation. I think that the common values is hard because we each have different experience in our life, and we want to bring those values to the conversation every time. Sometimes we have to stop and just suspend them or agree on them. Another thing that the author talks about is accepting what you cannot change. Now, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the situation or the conflict in the past is so far gone that you can't talk to the person that it was involved with, or that you've just decided that you really can't go on with it anymore, that there's a point where you say, resolution would have been great, but it just can't be. So it is time to accept things that you cannot change. And there are some things that honestly cannot change. So you have to move on. It hurts sometimes. Another thing is to give up control. You're not always going to be the one that wins in the conversation. Don't carry the world on your shoulders. Don't try to fix it all, be it all. You're going to sometimes have to come to a point where you just surrender. And sometimes a whole new attitude may emerge. And that's really helpful and that's wonderful. But a lot of times you're going to find yourself just really having to give up control and let it be. Another important point that this blogger talks about is sharing what you feel. Sometimes people say, let's not bring emotion into this conversation. And that's probably really good advice to get started. But I do think that you're never going to achieve a proper resolution and a proper acceptance of whatever the situation is if you aren't able to express your emotion. So maybe before you have the conversation with the person that you're trying to resolve something, talk to someone that you can talk to. A friend or family member who you can just share your emotions with, who can handle it, and who can then help you move forward, having got that off your chest. Find some peace of mind to move forward in the more controlled situation that you have. Always look for the positives. I know it's tough. It's really tough sometimes when you've got something on your mind and you want to resolve it, but it can't be. You've got to let it go. Excuse me. A little sip of my tea. Gosh, trickle in my throat. That's good. Just really one or two more things. Focus on forgiveness. Let it go sometimes. The pain with the conflict will disappear once you forgive. And even if it's at a distance and not with that person in front of you or in contact with you, forgive. Forgive them for whatever happened and then forgive yourself. People that have gone through divorces, I know that you understand what this means. It's that we focus on the things that went wrong or the things that we were betrayed or we were hurt. You've got to forgive. And once you've forgiven, a new door opens up and then you can just look at the whole situation through a different lens. So I think that's important. So conclusion, don't spend energy ruminating on the past. You'll miss the glorious present and the beauty of the future. You've got to let it all go and just live your life with your truth and let things that you have no control over be. So, hope this has been a useful conversation. Do you have lingering conflicts from the past that are hanging you up or keeping you, giving you conflict today? Can you see how those conflicts from the past are preventing happiness in the present and the future? Maybe this is an opportunity to talk about it a little bit. Perhaps it's be a stimulation to talk. We're safe here. We're talking about things. So please, if you want to share and then move forward, that would be great. Just let us know. Do you have any lingering conflicts that are causing you challenges in the present day? Hope that you're doing okay, everybody. I know this is a tough time. Being 60 years old can be very complicated, but we're here for each other, and I do hope that this has helped you in some way to break through a situation on your mind. Have a really good day, everyone. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you again soon. Be well and just take care. Bye-bye.